and welcome to another edition of the MSP Initiative podcast. Today is August 20th. We're just at the tail end of summer. I know a bunch of people actually have kids that are already back to school, depending on where you're at. And so if you're one of those people, Godspeed. I'll enjoy the last few weeks here, or a couple weeks before we get to the other side of September 1st. While you guys are doing the school buzz gig. In the meantime, MSPinitiative.com. That's where you're going to find all the stuff that we do here, including links to all the recordings of these podcasts, as well as YouTube and, all the other services that we post this on. So make sure to like, download, subscribe, all the good stuff. You know what to do. Some housekeeping you should get out of the way at the beginning of these. The Channel Sports Tour is back again. So if you head to MSPinitiative.com on the Channel Sports Tour, we have the 3 regions of dates. What does that mean? We have the first NFL game around the corner in like 17 days in Australia, Melbourne, Australia, the 49ers and the Rams. Looking forward to that. We also have the Eagles and the Jags at Tottenham Stadium in London in October. Those are the 2 international games for the NFL that we're hosting MSPs at, and the rest of the games are here in the U.S. domestically, right? Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Los Angeles, Tampa, New Jersey, New York, whatever you call that giant stadium over there, MetLife. Not a great stadium, but hey, don't be upset. They could have built a better one, but you would think the mileage varies here, right? Anyway, all of those dates are posted. Put yourself on the wait lists at MSPinitiative.com. They're all posted, dates, times, all that good stuff. If you do get added, you'll get a tailgate, usually pregame, all inclusive, and a ticket to the game. It's pretty good for the NFL. I don't know how you lose, but just hanging out with a bunch of people from the sandbox, talking shop. So that is the Channel Sports Tour. It's our second year doing that. Last year was awesome, so we're bringing it back again for this year. And then before we know it, we'll be through the fall pretty fast. It goes super fast. We'll be in November, and we'll fall right into this with our guest for today. But the Kaseya Connect APAC in Sydney is in November. It's a pretty good event last year. There's over 1,000 people there, expecting around that or more. We'll talk about it on this podcast this year in November. So if you're headed to Sydney, or you're in Sydney and you're just going to stop by, we are continuing the MSP Community Block Party in conjunction with the great folks at Kaseya Connect. If you were able to join us in prior years for DataCon in Miami, or even this past year, not long ago, I think it was like almost May, late April in Vegas. We had awesome parties here in the States. And if you were in Prague or Dublin in Europe, thank you for coming and joining us out at that ones. But last one for the year for us, block parties, is going to be in Sydney. So we're bringing it to you. 2 events in Australia in like 90 days. We got the NFL game in Melbourne and the MS Community Block Party in Sydney. So all of that's at MSPinitiative.com. Go check it out. Again, designed for MSPs. Just put your name on the list. You got nothing to lose. Don't cost you anything. So that's a win. So that's all my housekeeping. I guess if you did join us at an earlier block party this year, all the videos and albums for those parties are online. So feel free to go reminisce and find yourself there. And, it's all there for your enjoyment there. All right. First time on the podcast, I think so. We bring Amelia Paro from Kaseya onto the show for the first time. How you doing today, Amelia?
I am doing great. It is a Thursday, so, right? Yes, it's Thursday today.
Yeah. So it's like all those summer days jamming together. But Amelia lives in the desert, so all that sun gets to you. I don't know.
I was gonna say, which city I didn't hear in that channel tour you were talking about? I didn't hear Phoenix. You got something against Phoenix?
No, it doesn't mean that I won't be going to Phoenix, because the Eagles and the Cardinals play at at Glendale there at the stadium. I try and black out that 2022 Super Bowl, with Sod Gate and like the slippery slide, grass, during, the Mahomes, all that jazz. But yeah, no, I might be going to that personally, but the Channel Sports Tour, not headed to Phoenix this year. Closest we get to you is SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles there.
Yeah. Yeah. I've actually been to that stadium. It's nice. So, yeah. Well,
Not
all
nice,
right.
nice when it's not super hot outside.
Yes, which I guess is probably why you're not coming to Phoenix, but that's all right. I think
Well,
you're missing out. It'll
hold
be,
on, hold on. Let's just be safe and be clear. The Cardinal Stadium is air conditioned. Okay, like
huh?
let's be safe here. Totally air conditioned.
Mm-hmm.
SoFi is not completely enclosed. I don't know if people know this. So it has a roof, but the
Right.
end zones are open air. So if it's
Mm-hmm.
really hot outside, it's really hot inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, you should really consider making Phoenix a stop.
You
Hardly
know
ever
what?
anybody ever
Maybe we
comes here.
can maybe we can get some interest out of your area. I know there's a ton of MSPs in that area. Maybe we can, poll the audience, see if we can sneak one in there. But that's not until I think December, beginning of December.
And that's a great
Um,
time to be in Phoenix. Great
yeah,
time. We are
yeah.
definitely
Fir-
winning in the winter.
first, we actually, I'm sure it doesn't surprise you at all. My cell phone background is the the Eagles schedule, so that game is on December 6th.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't
Easy.
surprise me that the schedule is your cell phone background, not
Of course.
not your wife, your kids. No, the important things in life.
Gotta know. These are like you gotta have a quick glance, fast decision making here.
Hmm.
So for people who have never run into you, never met you, it would be great if you could do a quick, time machine down memory lane, just your background, so people can like, piece together like where you came into the sandbox and how do we get to present day.
Yes, absolutely. So for those who don't know who I am, Amelia Paro, hi, Director of Sponsorships at Kaseya. And good Lord, my journey into where I am now is very 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon is probably the best way to describe it. I actually came from the MSP space, and before that, I was doing like before the housing, the dot-com bubble burst. I was doing like Wolf of Wall Street, cold calling for big tech companies like Lenovo and Microsoft and SAP and Oracle. So I've been in the tech space for a very long time. But yeah, so came from an MSP and I joined the dark side, joined the vendor side with ID Agent back in 20 beginning 2019. Yeah. So and from there it was sort of a whirlwind of acquisition with Kaseya. They acquired us and I was on the road for Kaseya pitching ID Agent and whatever else they happened to acquire that year. I think I was I would do ID Agent, IT Glue, Unitrends. God, I can't even remember. So the whole product portfolio for a couple of years did that. And then I started running our regional events, the Connect Locals, and did 13 months of that, did 88 events in 13 months. Was like, okay, I think I'm good. That was fun. And the sponsorship role at Kaseya opened up, and I quickly jumped into that as soon as I could because 88 events in 13 months was a lot, but learned a lot. No, so, again, very 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. And I honestly believe what makes this job the most fun for me is because of all the time, all those years that I spent on the road, going to other channel events for ID Agent, for, the Kaseya product flavor of the month, and spending all the time and building relationships and friendships with the other vendors in the space, many of which I, consider good friends across the channel. So, you know, I came from the MSP side, so I can put my MSP hat on when I need to. And I, you know, have a lot of relationships with other vendors, and I can put myself into the shoes of the vendors. So I believe that makes me uniquely qualified for the job that I'm in now, because one of the things that I've really come to appreciate is that any event it really has two customers, right? It's the MSPs attending and the vendors investing in being there. And honestly, if either side isn't getting value, then that model breaks. So,
You know, that's 88 events in 13 months. I'm going to save that one in my head. It's a lot.
yeah,
That's a lot. That's a lot of airline miles.
my liver still remembers that.
I'm sure it does. Like, when you cut a tree and it has the one.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is a never-ending topic. It's one that I heard way back in the early 2000s when I entered Sandbox, and it still seems like, it went hard through the 2000s, 2010s. COVID, kind of threw a wrench into things. Now we're on the other side of that, and before you know it, we'll be in the 2030s. I know that sounds crazy, but uh, the event conversation of there's so many of them, everybody's running one. There's like these people who are just event goers, it seems, are on one side, and the few events that you circle on the calendar to actually leave your business if you're on the other side. Like, how do you choose? So let me just throw a couple of balls up in the air and see what your opinion is on the other side of this. Do you believe August 20th, 2026, there are still too many events in the sandbox in an annual basis? You with me, Amelia? All right, I got you now. You're on mute though. There you go.
That
You
was,
got? Can you hear me? I can hear
yeah.
you. Awesome. All right.
All right,
We
technical
had our quick
difficulties.
had our
We're just gonna start this with fire and brimstone. Here we go.
awesome. All
Amazing.
right. First question. We're gonna rewind.
Yeah.
Do you think that today, August 20th, 2026, there are too many channel events still to decide from in like an annual basis?
If I put my MSP hat back on, yes. Yeah, I do. I would not be able to attend all of them and actually do run a business. So for those MSPs that are attending many of these events, my hat is off to you. You are winning at the game, apparently, because I don't know that I would be able to do it.
Got it.
But
So
on the event side, I can, I would never want to discourage having an event. There's value in having an event if it's done with the right intent, right? So for example, if someone were putting my MSP hat back on, if someone were to ask me why would you want to attend Connect APAC, right? That's the one that's coming up in November. And look, the answer isn't just because Kaseya has good breakouts, which they do, right? Granted, but as an MSP, wearing my MSP hat, I can get an product education online. I travel, especially internationally, right? Because Connect gives me access that I can't easily replicate from behind my desk. Like, for example, I want to know what other MSPs are doing, right? Running an MSP, it can be strangely isolating. So I want to sit next to someone running a 5 million or a 20 million or a 50 million MSP and ask, how are you pricing this? Are your customers actually buying AI services? How are you handling security? What did you screw up that I can avoid? Like that's incredibly valuable. And you know, the best education in a conference, it isn't necessarily what's on the agenda. It's sitting next to you at dinner or at breakfast or in the lobby bar, as so many of us like to frequent. And then there's other components, right? Too. There's access to, you know, leadership, Kaseya leadership, the people actually building the products that I am using as an MSP, right? Understanding where the platform is going, where Kaseya's, the things that Kaseya is investing in, what's changing, what should I prepare for? And then outside of that, it's seeing the broader technology ecosystem in one place, right? And this is actually where where it becomes part of the true value of community, right? As an MSP, and I remember, right? Like we'd go to a conference, and I wouldn't want to just go to a conference to see 75 variations of the host. Right? I want security companies. I want AI companies. I want CRM companies. I want VoIP companies. I want, you know, hardware, cloud, insurance, finance, whatever, right? And yes, they're, you know, they're speaking as Kaseya, right? There's sometimes companies that overlap, but as an MSP, I want the community, right? I'm building my MSP stack. It's not about Kaseya. So, you know, there's so much value to events and doing it right, discovering the things that I didn't know that I needed, right? That one thing where you walk into an event and you're like, I need to figure out how to improve my margins, and then you leave thinking, holy crap, I need to completely rethink how we're approaching AI, or I need a vendor I've never heard of that solves a problem that's been driving my technicians crazy for 2 years. Serendipity has business value, right? So again, I'm an MSP. Why would I want to go? Why would I come back every year? Because my business isn't standing still. My problems this year aren't necessarily my problems next year. Technology changes, threats change, customer expectations change all the time. Vendors change. You know, even Kaseya changes, and my peers' businesses change. But at these community-focused events and these big ecosystem events, right, where this is what we are trying to deliver, the relationships compound, and that's, you know, that professional community, that to me is really, you know, as an MSP, thinking back about when I was an MSP and wearing that MSP hat, that's why I would attend, why I would fly.
Uh-oh. Maybe had another blip there. I'll give her a second to resync here. Okay, we got you again. Last thing we heard is what?
It seems that I'm having some serious technical difficulties, so.
All right, we'll try one more time. The last thing we heard was why I would fly, right? And then we
Yeah.
lost you.
Yeah, why I would spend 15 hours on 15 or more hours, depending on where you're flying from, on an airplane. It isn't because it's the content alone of an event. It's the relationships that have compounded. It's the ecosystem. It's the community. And so
I agree with that. I've had hundreds. I actually lost track of how many episodes we've had here on this podcast. It's maybe over 1,000. But the theme I've gotten from many is that this sandbox, MSP industry, is heavily relationship based on every side, whether it's MSP to MSP, MSP to vendor, vendor to vendor. It's why we see a lot of cross section with a lot of people who were on the MSP side, create a product to fill a gap, and end up now on the other side of the equation, right? On the vendor side. And for those people, I have a lot of, um, empathy for, right? I've lived that journey myself. I know how hard it is. Um, as much as, an MSP could get a low cost or even free ticket at times to go to some of these events, that is not the case when you cross the aisle and decide to show up and start offering something new. And so the experience from both sides of that could be drastically different depending on where you are in the journey, right?
Yeah.
What do you tell the people who have decided to make an investment and go across the aisle and go from MSP consumer to vendor who supplies services to MSPs?
Um, I would challenge, first of all, I think expanding um, your reach, your exposure, your relationships, I commend you for that, right? Whether it's an MSP that's flying across the ocean to attend an Australian event for the first time, or a vendor attending an Australian event for the first time, you know, you're putting yourself, your business, your business proposition, right? Maybe what you think is going to be valuable in a certain market isn't, or isn't valuable, not isn't valuable, but there's a different value spin to it, and being able to experience that is hugely beneficial for the growth of your business, right? Understanding and experiencing the things that maybe you didn't think about because you don't know what you don't know is, I mean, that in terms of your business growth is, can propel you significantly.
So a lot has been said on bang for your buck, return on investment. Is the juice worth the squeeze? I got so many cliches. Um, Obviously, not every vendor is the same, and not every MSP is the same, right? Like Kaseya specifically has a vendor program that's tiered, right? There's different levels depending on how big you are. Same could be said for the vendors, right? There's different spendability, if that's a word, or budgetability,
Yeah.
depending on where you are in the journey, right? A lot's been made of, are the bigger events too expensive for a smaller startup guy to even participate? Do you find that still be the case, or what are the options for those people?
Um, I appreciate that, because Kaseya Connect is one of the larger events in the channel that our sponsorship prices are at a different tier than some of the smaller ones. I don't take that for granted at all. Having said that, we do offer programs for startups and first-time sponsors. So, because I'm just as invested as in bringing a vendor who's new to our ecosystem into our ecosystem as I am vendors who come back to us, right? It's, again, going back to what makes a great community event. It's bringing in new perspectives, new innovation, new technology, new thought leadership, new blood, right? This is how we evolve. This is how we get better. This is how we operate smarter and grow quicker. And whether you're an MSP or a vendor, right? The ecosystem, again, it's such a critical component to doing a channel event well, right? So you talked about, are there too many events in the channel? Maybe, possibly. There's sure is a lot. I think the better question is what is the intent of the event? What is the focus? What are we trying to do, right? So, and if it's about community, it's about ecosystem, bringing in new vendors, new sponsors, and having a method by way we can do that, are offering startup packages, offering, we call them bite-sized sponsorships, where, look, come as a sponsor vendor, you get a lanyard, right? And come check it out. You won't, I mean, you can have some digital present, like there's many different packages and offerings that I have created, that I've worked with the team to put together to bring, to ensure that we have a constant new flow of the startups that, you know, look at all the vendors that we have now, even the big ones, they started as a startup, right? So let's bring them in. Let's bring in the new technology. Hang on one second. I have a puppy and she's eating something she's not supposed to. Stop it. I have a new toddler in my house, so.
It's okay. I think a lot of us have been there.
Yeah.
Congrats on the new dog.
Thank you.
So what I'm hearing from you is, as one of the larger event holders in the sandbox, you have not set the floor so high that somebody who's smaller or even brand new can't actually get in there affordably in their, budget, right? In their size, and at least be in the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, because if they grow, then they're going to grow with us, right? So trust me when I say I am invested in the growth of our sponsors.
Awesome. So listen, I hope, a lot of people listening to this, I know a lot of MSPs listening to this, guys, like, I know we're in the age of AI. We haven't even gotten there yet. It's the first time we've said it on this episode. So you're welcome. But I know a lot of new vendors. Please be careful. Don't just vibe code something and sell it as a product. Have come out with something new. Okay. George's advice, for whatever it's worth. There is a window, a lane, a door for you to cross the aisle and not melt down, your bank account from, so fast you can't even figure out what happened. And obviously getting on a plane and spending time on the road adds up, right? I don't know if you want to do 88 events in 13 months as a new vendor. I digress, but
I wouldn't recommend it.
okay. But every day you're out of the office, the cost of your time, this is like this hidden metric that everybody forgets to calculate. It has a value to it. And I guess why, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm talking from my perspective. I guess why are the bigger events so popular is something that Larry Metter said on a podcast not a while back. Like, hey, as a vendor, I want to go where my customer is, or my prospective customer is. And if you can get 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 or whatever that number is in one place, I can talk to more people in one shot than a smaller amount and having to go over, many places, right? 88 times maybe, right? Like, I can maybe get to that same amount of people in a one event 3-day window that I could over 13 months of smaller events, right? And like, there's a practicality there, right? Like, I don't think it's reasonable, and I'll let you, throw your angle at this, but I don't think it's reasonable that one person can talk to 3,000 people in 33 days. I just don't think that's, a reasonable expectation. But look at the amount of people you can talk to, and effort's free, right? You, as many people as you're willing to have that conversation with, they're in front of you. How many times can you get that in one place? Not that many times in a year.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's definitely the most bang for your buck, but again, we have these programs for smaller different programs for different levels and different places where you are on the vendor journey. That's what I want to say. And it ties back to, for those MSPs of you that are out there listening, it ties back to the attendee experience, right? So again, I'm so fortunate and so blessed because I get to have an impact in what I do now on the attendee experience, remembering what it was like to be on the MSP side, and also knowing that the magic of a great channel event isn't necessarily just about what's happening on stage. It's the ecosystem you put in a room. And so the channel vendors, all the vendors in this great, amazing channel ecosystem and community that we operate in are really part of that magic and what's in the room, right? So
So let's go there. Attendee experience. Like, what makes a good event attractive for an MSP to come? I'm sure a lot of it's content, but we'll get, just give me a second. There's a lot. It's amazing, just like peeking behind the curtain for 5 seconds, the amount of time investment that goes into creating a really good experience.
months and months and months, sometimes years.
And like, I don't think people realize just how expensive it is to pull off these events. Like, these larger events, it probably I'm in the millions, right? In order to feed people, host people, get a big room, make it look like it's not an empty warehouse, transport people where they need to go. Like, this adds up pretty fast.
It's not free. So let's say that.
I'm guessing. I've never seen the final numbers. I never asked to. But I just knowing the little bit that I do, these things are.
You've got a little bit of a taste of putting on events, so you have an idea.
Yeah, they're very expensive. All right. So how do you balance creating a great experience that people as an MSP say, you know what, this is worth 3 days out of my company to go see something versus maybe something else? And then, like, how do you balance that with, man, it's really expensive to make that really an awesome experience that people walk away from and say, oh, that was great.
It's a perfectly refined recipe of thought leadership, product education, access to Kaseya leadership, vendors in the expo hall, and the relationships that are built, right? So it's all of those pieces together, right? If you take one away, the recipe doesn't work, right? Or if you just focus on one, the recipe doesn't work. It's got to be a balance of all of that. But I don't want to, it again, like, the equal parts of what makes the event great: the people, the education, the learning, the parties. I mean, we can't forget the party. You're a perfect example of that. You've been doing the block parties now for how long? But you're also with your other business, OneStream, you've been a sponsor at our events. So you're a great case study right there.
That wasn't where I was going. Appreciate what you were saying there. No, I mean, listen, personally, as I had an MSP for the better part of 20 years. I've lived it. I went to hundreds of events as an attendee, MSP, learning from other MSPs. I mean, I learned more from those conversations than I felt like I learned from anything formal. Not knocking anyone, just being honest. That's what gave me the inspiration to create from the MSP a solution for other MSPs across the aisle. Realized that was not, unfortunately, field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. Not exactly like that, but okay. You have a dream, you want to make it happen. All right, cool. And then realizing the community part of it, and I mean, community, right? Like, what does that actually mean? I don't know. I'm part of a lot of communities, but the managed services, IT services, small, medium business technology guys and girls community, right? Like, it's not exactly we work at Google or Microsoft or anything like that for sure, but there is definitely thousands of companies that deliver technology services to small, medium business. Now, I don't know. Everybody has a different quantification for what that means. Is it less than 500 employee end users, 200, 150? It's definitely not. I don't know how many people that show up at a channel event that we go to are dealing with tens of thousands of employee companies. I mean, I'm sure there are there, but that's not the majority. But our sandbox, I like to call it, yeah, it's a fun place. It's a unique place. And so for me, back to a couple of the points that you were trying to make, like I enjoy trying to figure out what is back to you. You made the point earlier. What's working for somebody a little bit bigger than me? What's working for somebody my size? What's working for somebody 3 times my size? If I can start working on something now that prevents a larger problem for me a couple of years from now, I wouldn't know that unless I lived it or I learned from somebody who did. Now, I can go through something formal and figure it out that way, but I don't know. And for all the people who went through college or maybe even a professional degree post college, textbook and reality almost never match up, right? Like I've heard this all the time. I've lived this myself. Like the
Yeah,
theory behind it and reality,
yeah,
they don't look anything alike for whatever reason.
yeah, yeah. But look, I mean, you guys, OneStream, MSP Initiative, you guys don't just show up, put a logo somewhere and leave, or just, sit behind a table scrolling on your phones, right? You create community around where you are, what you're doing, your events, your booth, right? The relationships, and you're not looking to you're not looking at Connect as one transaction. You've invested across Vegas, Europe, APAC, even the regional events that we're doing, right? And that's how the relationships compound. And I think that's really the core of kind of the message and the purpose and the intent.
Yeah. So consistency, right? Like
Yeah.
usually relationships take time to build. That's just a human thing, right?
Yeah.
And the more times we can build on top of the prior conversation and like progress the ideas, the better it gets because it's not just a drive by. I'm a hot dog seller on the corner in New York
Yeah.
City. Like we're
Right.
actually like there's a mutual benefit, right, to whatever the topic is.
Cool.
That's the access part of these events, right? That's why these larger events continue as expensive as they are to put on. Um, and like I'm all for the backyard event too, right? I would love to not have to be on planes 88 times a year like you.
Yeah.
But
Fortunately, I don't have
again,
to do that much anymore. But I mean, I think
yeah,
you might be on the road more than me now. In fact, what are you on some deserted island somewhere? It's
yeah, no,
camping
I
out in the woods, the only way you can
yeah,
get away.
nice scenery, that I'm at today. Yeah, not in my normal, office, but listen, I am not allergic to planes. That's for sure. Just like most other people that move around. And as much as the Zoom, Teams, YouTube, podcast, right? Like we can do these all day long. I think they were super popular when nobody could go anywhere. But since then, and let's not say that time, but we all know what I'm talking about. It's behind us. Like as much as the topic of the day, the AI this and the chat GPT that, and the new search results this, like I still find all the more value in the actual real conversation between human beings than I do from any results I get from any tool.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I don't think the channel benefits from us operating in like separate universes, right? So, when I was at ChannelCon, I was talking to a vendor, and I was talking to them about the potential opportunities of being a sponsor and at one of our events, and the ecosystem and the community and all that. And I'm bringing this up to make a point, going back to the community. This vendor was under the impression that because their product and services, there was some competitive overlap with Kaseya, that they wouldn't be allowed to sponsor. And I was like, nope, you are allowed. Welcome. Absolutely. Again.
Has that did the position change though? Like, I don't know, like I get it. Different people, they step into the sandbox, they take a role, and then like there's like a change in direction, right? This happens at all the big companies, right? Microsoft, for example, their partner programs one way, new person comes in, loop, 180 the other way. I've seen this now many times. So like when you say open.
Yeah.
Like really open. Like if you said there's like, I don't know, 50 products, 50 companies, acquisitions, whatever, right? Like,
Oh God, I don't want to, I can't remember.
okay, so many,
There's
right?
been a number of them. Yeah.
Dozens, right? If there is an overlap, like a direct, hey, like you have something that competes with me, am I still allowed to do this? Is the answer really yes here?
Yeah, it is. It is. We have an open ecosystem. We do. We do.
Okay. All
And
right.
quite frankly, let me tell you, because we have so many products, I think we would compete if we excluded competitors from sponsoring at our events. I don't know that we would have any sponsors.
So you're Walmart.
Oh, come on now.
I mean, they have everything, and it's all super low price. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, okay, noted. So it is. So it's open.
Open ecosystem, and because it's about providing attendee value and experience of the value of their experience, and why our MSP customers come back year over year, or fly to Europe or fly to Australia, right? They're not flying across the country to get, you know, a 3-day timeshare presentation. They're coming because it is the recipe of the expo hall, the ecosystem, the content, the parties, the access to leadership, the thought leadership, right? The knowledge, the growing that happens as a result of that. It's all of those things together. So
Okay.
you can't build community and continue to grow community if you're going to exclude.
Okay, that's fair. So let me ask you this. As an MSP, how does the people that help put the event together decide what MSP gets put on what panel, what MSP presents in what session? Like there's a lot of content on a lot of tracks, right? So like
Yeah.
how does an MSP raise their hand and say, "Hey, I got something that's been super helpful to my business. I would love to share that."
That is a great question. And a little outside of my wheelhouse. However, we do have our global partner program team, run by Dan Tomaszewski, and Greg Jones is a part of that. They, if I had to point an MSP in a direction, it would be, you know, getting them in contact with the global partner program, right? If they've got experience on AI that is valuable to share with the rest of the community, you know, something that we would be interested in. But how the exact process of who we select, I don't know, because
that's fair. And the other, I guess the other person in that mix, since you got an Australia event around the corner, is what? Sean Witherden?
Yep.
Witherden? Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
he is the partner program guy, right?
Yeah.
Down there. Got it.
Absolutely. So
All right. So there's a point person in each region, people. So if
Okay.
you're an MSP and you have not saying you're selling anything here, just saying you're an MSP in the community and you found a way that has helped your business and you want to see if that applies to some of the content that's being presented on these, these events, raise your hand. Raise your hand, reach out to these guys online.
1000%. We love it when MSPs wanna talk and share their experience. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, don't take it from us, listen to your peer. So.
As an MSP, before I got too deep into selling stuff to MSPs, I did a lot of that, right? I sat on a lot of panels and I shared a lot of things that, quite frankly, it's like, hey, hit a brick wall, found an answer, right? Like paying it forward, right? I wish people had been as open earlier in my journey. And so I think that's kind of one of the benefits to the community aspect, right? If you think you're in a castle with a moat around you and you're like, everybody's a competitor to you as a services provider, I don't think that's I don't think that's the right way to view what today is, right? I don't know how long you've been in it, and maybe that's something you've been thinking for a long time, but we're not in 2002, we're in 2026. It's a little bit different now. And there is a lot of people that are doing what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And so why not learn from the people collectively on the path that they found worked? See, it's a lot less expensive and a lot less time to figure it out that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And if MSPs viewed every other MSP as like a hardline competitor, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to engage with you because you're a competitor. You're an MSP too. What value is there in that? Right? I mean, look, I'm an MSP, you're an MSP. We both offer maybe the same services, but maybe I lean a little bit more heavy on the project side. And maybe my neighbor here is a little more on the, the technical support side, right? We can still be neighbors and have different specialties and different customers, maybe even the same customer that would use my neighbor for the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 support and use me for the project stuff. Same thing in the expo hall.
I've
right?
seen that. Let me pause you right there. That exact example where one MSP doesn't have all of the resources in house and another MSP has something that they need help with and they work together on projects. I've seen that so many times. And, it doesn't end badly if you structure it up front correctly, right? Like you can set it up where there's a win-win. And I see that all the time. This isn't I'm a vendor selling to an MSP. This is MSP and MSP working together.
Yeah.
There is a win there, guys. You just got to be open to the conversation. Keep going.
Yeah. So, I mean, the same can sort of be said in the expo hall, right? Too, vendor to vendor. Let's keep Kaseya out of it just for a minute, but we've got vendors that compete with each other in our expo hall, right? But it's about, there's gonna be different needs at different times for the customer, and the customer can still use both vendors, maybe 3 vendors, maybe 4 vendors, if they all sort of do the same thing, but they have different specialties.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's again, awareness is the first challenge, right? Understanding what's available. If like you can spend time on the internet all you want, but something for real world validation of somebody who's already in the room who's used it, right? Like that's the answer. You want to know that it works, right? That would be perfect if every time it worked out that way. But no, that's the all of these things are the value to leave your office, leave your business, stop servicing your customer for a couple of days and go figure out what's happening and maybe what's next, right? So like a little bit of visibility into the future is a really, you know, valuable thing. Can you put a dollar amount to it? Sure. What's the cost of your time out of the office? How much is the airline ticket, the hotel room, the Uber? Yeah, you can put a price to a couple of days out of the office. But if you can figure out the next thing and be timely about it, that could be a major difference for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And think about all the different, different ways that can multiply the value for yourself as a business owner, for your customers, your employees, right? Ambitious MSPs are gonna wanna engage in these congregations of community and the knowledge of a community that can present opportunities for finding what the next thing is, or so if you're considering expansion, or maybe you're an MSP that has multinational customers, or you want to develop partnerships in other parts of the world, or acquisition opportunities, right? Or just, hey, what are MSPs on the other side of the world doing that we haven't figured out yet? Back to your point, right?
I will say this. There is so much content. Just like I said, it's not reasonable from an expectation standpoint that you're going to be able to talk to 3,000 people in 3 days as a single individual. It's just, I don't think it's reality. Good luck. If you can do it, let's get like a Guinness World Record thing in there or something. But there's different tracks to these events, right? Like if you have somebody on your team that's like your back office automations, scripting, DevOps guy or girl, and they're like the centralized tools person in your company, and you want them to deep dive, there are the technical tracks with the technical people available there that would be not super accessible. I'm not saying you can't get to them, but like they're in front of you, right? Can I get my questions answered right now?
Yeah.
If you're the marketing or sales or business development person in your company and you want to figure out what options are available to you, is there MDF programs that you can access? What's the guy next to you succeeding doing? Should I spend $10,000 a month in AdWords, or should I go door to door and drop, flyers old school? I don't know, but like what's working? Like there's room for that person, right?
Yeah.
There's also room for I'm the check signer, business owner, decision maker, and I want to talk shop with other people who are in my chair to figure out, like, is it profitable this year? Like, what's going on? Am I doing things the right way? Should I apply for the R&D tax credit? Should I, this year in my business, should I borrow money? Should I take on investors? Should I consider merging with someone or whatever? Right? There's so many topics like that. There's a space for that too. So like, there's in between spaces, right? But what I'm trying to say is, even if you've been to a larger event before recently, or maybe not, there's room for other people in your company to be in their own pocket with other people like them and learn the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm just talking to you. I don't work. No offense, Amelia. I'm not working for you here.
Well, you're not
I'm
getting
just,
paid, so.
I'm just telling you as a guy that's been as an MSP to these events, this is what I saw. This is what I learned, right? And so I'm probably telling you what you've all heard, but you can take all the online video courses you want. You can do all the certificate programs you want. That's fine. And there's a place for all of that. But I just want to know in reality what's going on from somebody else that's in it. I
Yeah.
think that that's worth more than almost all
Or
of
has
it.
gone through it and is on the other side, right? I'm a
100%.
5 million MSP. How do I get to the next level?
100%. So I can't stress enough that if you're going to leave your business one or two or a couple times a year, whatever it is, and you can say, hey, I'm not going to not go on my family vacation to go to your event. Cool. Not asking you to. But if you had to pick a couple of times out of the office to go to something, you want to maximize your time and make sure that you can come back with something actionable, guys, right? Like, hey, we all want to have a good time. We all want the show aspect, the lights and the cool factor and all that. And trust me, that's going to be there most of the time. But if you can come back from these events with here's what I'd like to learn, checkbox, and something actionable that you can come back with and say, I want to do these three things I brought back from this event. I want to be able to action this in the next 6 months. I don't know, pick a time period. That's the best way to attack these larger events. So, again, whatever it is, whoever's running it, right? If you come with, I need to learn these things, these are the problems I'm trying to solve for right now. That's the best way. Come with an agenda for yourself. That's the best way to handle these bigger events. But anyway.
Yeah. And look, there are God, hundreds of people who have dedicated thousands of hours, not just at the event, but building up to this event to tailor content and activities, the food, every part of this event from the moment before you even walk in the door, before you even arrive, that your experience is top notch, and do that and top it every single year, right? The hundreds of people that is their entire job, is to curate an event that is valuable enough to make it worth your while to fly across the ocean or take 3 or 4 days away from your business, which is no small thing. And we know that. And we, you know, we don't discount the massive, you know, value of that. And so everything that we do to put on this program for MSPs, and our vendors and our sponsors are part of that, is this experience that drives value and is what you want it to be. So if you're attending, I mean, maximize it, right? Like the thousands of hours that have been put in with your, I mean, completely focused on what is going to give you the best event experience ever. That's, you know, that's not for nothing.
Well, no, that's if you're spending, and again, my opinion, millions of dollars to put on an event. Yeah, I would hope that there's a lot of people making sure that that money is being well spent.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars, guys, right? Like literally. I don't know how you couldn't spend that money to put on, like thousands of people, just food for thousands of people, right? Like, remember one time I got a price at a hotel to run an event. They're like, "Hey, this Diet Coke is $8." I'm like, $8 for one
In
can? They're
Vegas,
like,
it's
"Yeah,
25, and it's the 8-ounce cans, right? It's
yeah."
$25.
I was like, I'll buy a whole case for the same price.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would expect that with that type of spending, there's a lot of dialing in, right? Of whatever it is. So I got you. All right. So Kaseya Sydney or Kaseya Connect APAC's in Sydney. It's in November. That's the next one. And then next year, I'm going from memory. There's Vegas again, probably at the end of April or right in the beginning of May, something like that last week of April, I think. And then there's the European event, which I think is shifting cities again. It was in Dublin and then went to Prague, and I forget it's somewhere else next year.
We're in Hamburg.
So Germany, yes.
Yeah.
So that's going to be in June. I'm
June.
just
Yep. Look at you.
okay.
Amazing. Yes.
Wow. Okay. Just I'm thinking about 2027. It's crazy. So that's going to be in June. So these are the three major, larger regional conferences that you hold on the Kaseyas.
And we are moving from MGM Grand in Vegas to Mandalay Bay. So we outgrew the MGM Grand, and we're very excited to be in this new venue. Lots of exciting opportunities to build new things in a new event space and really take it to the next level for an attendee experience.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So those are the three that you should maybe put on your calendar and think about, hey, if I'm going to leave and go somewhere, should I go here? Well, those are three to consider out of the vast, I still think a lot. I had a lot of events in the calendar
There is, but I don't, I would never want to poo-poo on someone's event, right? I get it. We're all just trying to make our way in this little fish pond this little giant fish pond. So
yeah, well, I call it sandbox, fish pond. It's all the same. All right. So I would give you a URL. I don't have them handy. I don't know if you do. I would just say Google Kaseya Connect APAC, Kaseya Connect Vegas, and Kaseya Connect Europe, and it'll just pop up probably.
yes. I can pop that in really quickly. Hopefully my system doesn't crash while I do this. And then I'm going to go call my ISP.
Internet, right? Needs to work.
And let me tell you, okay, so in Phoenix, it's sort of a monopoly. I'm going to jump on a soapbox really quickly because it's the one thorn in my side. There's only one real ISP. And as you can see by how many times did I get dropped on this call, I have everything else basically shut down on my laptop. So needless to say, the service is not great, especially for the money that I am paying.
Time for Starlink. We put up the dish.
I'm good. You know what? That's it. I'm gonna have to. It's.
I mean, if it's good enough for the plane, it's good enough for Amelia's plane.
Right. So just go to kaseyaconnect.com, and from there you'll be able to see dates for all of our global events and also for our regional Connect local events as well.
Awesome. Okay. So this session was absolutely 100% recorded, like they all are. So you find that online. If you're someone who's an MSP who's interested in going to one of these events, check out the website. If you're interested in providing an experience, content, or something, there's the 3-point people. Rewind this session and find the programs, person in each region, right? We gave you 3 names earlier on here. Drop them a
Or you
line.
can reach out to me and I will point you in the right direction. I mean, I
Perfect.
don't want to have to make people, rewind just to get names. You can always reach out to me. I'm
Perfect.
happy to connect you to the right person.
Awesome. So if you think you can provide some experience value and share with the crowd, raise your hand. Why not? And I think that that's the whole point, in my opinion. So pay it forward. And then if you're on the third lane, right? Hey, I wanna sell something to someone, how to get people to actually see you. That's the lane where you want to contact Amelia as well and see if there is an option. And it sounds like there's options from 0 to the sky, that you can afford and budget for, and like take a flyer on something. This is your person, right?
I am
So
your
we cover all 3 lanes here. All right, guys. I'm excited to see you guys on the road. Don't forget the Channel Sports Tour, MSPinitiative.com. You find all the dates. Amelia, please do not melt before we get to you in the desert there.
I've been living
Phoenix.
in the desert too long. I'm sort of a desert rat, as they're called. You can call me a lizard.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know if you got blue blood, but all good. All right, guys, catch you on the next one. Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye.